Hi, shalom, friends. You see, Yaakov comes to his therapist agitated. He sits down. His therapist says, Yaakov, what's up? He stares at his therapist. What time is it? Well, the therapist goes like this, looks at his watch. 3:15. Yaakov gets more agitated. You also? So what are you talking about? He says, whenever I ask a person the time, they keep giving me different times. So now when I ask you, my friend, what time is it in America? And if you get my drift, you'll answer, it is time for change. Yay, that was very funny. Okay, now let's talk real. There's been a lot of unrest outside. Together with the virus, now this idea of protests and so on. And I want to start off with maybe one or two questions, but do not turn off this YouTube until I get a chance to answer it. Okay. Question number one. What color is life? Question number two. Is racism wrong? Question number three. Have you ever asked why? And that question of why is racism wrong goes actually for question number one. Why is murder, or more correctly, the way it's being portrayed, why does life matter? We're told black life matters, but does life matter? And I'm sure we'll all say yes. Well, ask yourself, why? I've noticed, I'm an observer as well as a participant in life. I guess all of us are a little bit of both. We look and we participate. And I'm really honestly trying to figure out what the protests against racism are actually trying to say. If they're trying to say that what happened by the police was something which is illegal, so then why not say that? Why shouldn't the placard say, we are against illegality? I'm sure I didn't say it right. We are against those who break the law. Or we are law-abiding citizens. Police have no right to break the law. Or something, so it's a very, very clear message. If they're actually against racism, I often ask myself, how would a person outlaw racism? See, I want to bring in something which is really very important. You could be a racist, but as long as you do things legally, the country cannot prosecute you. And you could be a great lover of every minority that exists, but if you're acting illegally, the country can prosecute you. So let's say, for example, I am a landlord. Legally, I cannot deny someone renting my apartment based on the color of his skin. I got that. That's a law. But the law cannot mandate that in my home, I should decide that people of color are actually the people that I want to be friendly with. Because that's a feeling, and you can't legislate feelings. So you could legislate do not discriminate, but you really cannot say you should like. It's actually a complicated subject, and I cannot do justice in this, even if it's 15 minutes. But let me throw out something. We use the word demonstration, and we use the word protest, and it's been used interchangeably, but it's not the same thing. For example, I heard on the radio more than once that since the protest against the Vietnam War, America has not seen so many demonstrations. Now hold it. Stop for a second. The protest against the war means as follows. There's a group of people that feel that fighting in Vietnam for democracy is an ideal. It is a noble thing. It is the right thing for America to do. And then there are protests. They say, no, you're wrong. It's not the right thing for us to do. Let them figure it out themselves. Or the way we're trying to bring democracy is by being cruel, and therefore it is wrong. So we have two opinions, and we're protesting the opinion that says war in Vietnam is necessary. The other side, war in Vietnam is not necessary. Okay. Have you seen any protest that says it is good to murder people of color? I haven't seen that or heard that. So what we're demonstrating is that people of color should be treated fairly under the law. So what we really want is a law-abiding society. We have laws on the book. We have civil rights and so on. So it's not a protest. There's no one protesting against the protesters. What it is a demonstration. Why do I think that that's significant? I'll tell you why. Because I go back to the question of if you think racism is wrong, and we haven't yet defined it, because if racism means not treating people of color or minorities fairly, then it becomes illegal and they're breaking the law. So that's not what we're trying to outlaw. We're trying to fix something, to go beyond the law. Why should a person change his feelings? Okay, I'll get to the answer. Because when we read in the Bible that God created man in his image, it doesn't make a distinction about color. So one has to accept from a superficial reading of the Bible that all minorities, if they are human beings, essentially have the dignity and the honor and the humanity that every other human being has. So if we want to say that life matters, and if we want to say that racism, a negative feeling towards a person based solely on the color of his skin, if we want to say that that is a wrong thing, then we have to explain why it is wrong. And what we're losing in this whole mishagas is the word God. If we can introduce into public discourse what makes us human, and the answer is a supreme authority creator who created us to be fundamentally different than the four-legged creatures, and for that matter, different than angels, and there's a part of God in each and every one of us, then we could talk about why racism is wrong, and we even have a hope to change it, because all of us want to be good with God. If the only reason that we could come up with is it is illegal, so fine. So what the signs are all wrong. The sign should be saying, cops keep the law. Cops don't break the law. We keep the law, etc. If it's based on a feeling, it just seems wrong, well, ask a racist. To him, it seems right. So what am I suggesting? Somewhat with a touch of humor, what I'm suggesting is that we make massive demonstrations saying we want God back in our lives. We want to hear the word God, 10 Commandments, Bible, 7 Noahide laws. We want that to be fulfilled. And because it is God who is just, therefore we demand justice. And because God is kind and considerate, and he makes it rain for all people, He makes the sun shine for all people. He gives life for all people. And he wants the benefit of man for all people. That is why what took place in Minnesota is terribly wrong, has to be investigated, and from what we're able to see, should be prosecuted as well. So next time your friend tells you, I'm going out to a protest, ask them, what are they protesting? When they're saying, I'm going out to demonstrate, demonstrate for what? What do you want? I want decency. I want equality, and I want fairness. Excellent. Excellent. How are you going to get there? What's the best way to motivate? And ultimately, why? That's what you want. Other people don't want it. Well, it's just wrong. It's against, add the word, it's against God. It's against goodness. So let's bring God back into picture. So in this great land of freedom and equality, we have to remember it was a great country and is a great country because it's under God's providence. Bring God back into the public and the public will respond.